Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Chamber of the Wraith. My name is Brian, and today we're going to be tackling the new out today on PlayStation 4 and 5 and both of the Xbox consoles. As far as I'm aware, this is not out on PC or Nintendo Switch yet. This is a server-side adjustment, so there will be no patch notes to read and no downloads for you. This is off the rip. You'll get this the next time you launch, guaranteed. And this is actually a character adjustment patch, and the most substantial character adjustment patch we've gotten in a little while. So let's take a look at what we have. And 3 characters have had their health reduced.
Shiva, the Joker,
and
Cetrion.
All 3 of these characters now have 950 health instead of 1,000 health. And so far as I am aware, health bar adjustment has been kinda frowned upon as a balance adjustment, which I wasn't totally sure of, because at the very least there's that lore aspect. Of course, Sonya's gonna have less health than Shao Kahn. She's smaller than Shao Kahn by a sizable margin, but no, they seem to be using it specifically to adjust characters that are, well, being adjusted, namely Shiva and Cetrion, who are two characters that have the most amount of flack being thrown at them. I don't know why, but it is what it is. But the reason why I chose to highlight Shiva and Cetrion and not Joker is that Joker didn't get any other adjustments. Joker just lost 50 health, and losing 50 health isn't that much. It just means you can take one less throw or one less uppercut. That's about it. But Shiva has had her stomp adjusted. Now, this is gonna be a godsend to a lot of folks here, because now Shiva Stomp is basically dead, or it should be basically dead anyway. Shiva Stomp is now something you have to think about. You don't have to just mindlessly gun for this thing, because first off, the hit region for drag and drop has been slightly adjusted, so it should be narrower, meaning that it should be easier to dash away from. There's also now only one delay timing. You can either delay it to 96 frames or not. You cannot anymore delay it and then release it to be at like 70 frames or 80 frames or something like that. You don't have that window anymore. It's 2 opportunities. You do or you don't. That's it. And now there's also 30 more recovery frames on miss or when hitting armor. Now, as far as I'm aware, the only time that you're going to be hitting armor is if you're hitting somebody in the middle of a fatal blow with Stomp. But notice how long it takes for Shiva to recover now. 61 frames. That is a full second if Shiva Stomp misses, which is insane. That is a lot of recovery frames on Shiva Stomp. You can see as soon as she touches the ground, you're guaranteed a crushing blow punish. If you don't get it at this point, like I would probably get this every time, and I don't have the greatest reaction times. If you can't get this punish consistently, if you don't see her miss and then at least get a poke out of the deal, you need to work on your reaction times now. But I personally think that the health change was unnecessary. This is a perfect example of a health change that was completely unwarranted. Why would you adjust Shiva's health? Not just because, you know, she's a big character and all that, but you've already done the nerf that you needed to do. You needed to nerf the Stomp, and that's it. You didn't need to reduce her health. And before you say, Shiva's dead, no more Shiva, don't panic. Shiva still has godlike mids, still has a godlike confirmable mid into a combo. She has one of the best armor breaks in the game, in my opinion. She still has great overhead mix, fantastic sweep, excellent throw game. She still has every single tool that she's always had. The only change is that Stomp is worse. That's it. That's all they needed to do, and Shiva would have been fine. But no, they also reduced her health, because that was totally necessary. Next, we have to take a look at Cetrion, who had a chip damage reduction across the board. So now, Deadly Winds and Deadly Winds Amplify do less damage on chip. They no longer do insane amounts of chip, and now her biggest chip option at range is the Death Ray. But the Death Ray has its own caveat. It's minus 14. Or minus 17 on hit, meaning that if you do it at close range, you're punished. The Wind is safe. Minus 2. Minus 6 at close range, and on Amplify, plus 1. So, the reason why this got adjusted was that the Wind did ludicrous amounts of chip damage. It's been, as far as I'm aware, reduced, so now it isn't a clean 5% on chip. It's now basically 2 special moves at close range. It's still 28.5, so it's about 3% on chip at close range, but it is safe. It doesn't need to do this kind of chip damage that you're seeing out of the Heat Ray, because the Heat Ray's caveat is, yeah, you're getting good chip damage, but you're also giving up your turn. You're not giving up your turn with this Wind. So it being adjusted makes perfect sense. Next up, we're going to take a look at the 80s guests, RoboCop and Rambo. RoboCop is another character that got a health adjustment. He is now tied with Shao Kahn for having the most amount of health in the game now. And that is one of his 2 changes. RoboCop now having 1100 health is one of those changes. Rambo had a couple of string adjustments, mostly for frame data and keeping things safe, but now there's a reason to try and go for a flawless block gap on one of them. Don't Move Creep has been buffed. This string is now active for 2 more frames, meaning that the last hit should be able to hit somebody more consistently. More specifically, it's active for 5 frames instead of 3. And on block, the string is now minus 5, giving RoboCop a safe option it gives Rambo a safe option because the forward 322 is now blockable. This is minus 5. This was minus 7, so theoretically punishable. This is minus 5. So now he has another safe option that keeps him close and potentially gives him a chance to go for a throw. Which is good, because if he goes for a throw, he's at range. Which is what RoboCop wants. RoboCop is all about that keep away. So now he can go for his pistol shots and what have you and be totally fine with it. Rambo has had 2 string adjustments. Diddy Bopping and First Blood. Now, we're going to start with First Blood since it's first in the patch notes. It's 3 less recovery frames on block. So, hold on, I don't want easy crushing blows. I want this. Now the string is minus 7. It used to be minus 10, meaning that Rambo now has an effective hit confirm on most characters. Excuse me. Now First Blood has now been adjusted to be minus 7 on block instead of minus 10. This gives Rambo an effective hit confirm. Sorry, I had to think about the term there. That he didn't have before with First Blood, because no matter what, once you got past the first hit, you were basically punishable. And there are characters with 7 frame normals that can still punish Rambo, but they're fewer than the characters that have 8 or 9 frame normals that are their fastest normal for a combo punish. So now Rambo has an extra chance to see a hit confirm and not risk fully committing to the string and being minus 30 on block, which is dead. Then there's Diddy Bopping. This string right here. Rambo is now -1, thanks to a combination of increased pushback on block and 5 more block stun frames. So this is now -1. It almost effectively is neutral. However, this is the string that I warned about. Because there's still a flawless block gap there, and it puts Rambo at -6 still. So this adjustment is only for normal block, not for flawless block. Now we got to move on to the last 2 characters that got any major adjustment. Like I said, Joker only had a health adjustment and that was it. And there's only 2 more characters that got an adjustment that I can at least try to show. The most adjusted character and the most buffed character is this guy.
Shao Kahn.
And the least buffed character, or the least adjusted character, at least as far as I'm aware, is the Wind God.
Fujin. Shang Tsung's island ruins.
Shao Kahn has 5 total changes, which is quite a sizable amount of changes for any character, but it's not just the quantity of changes that matters, it's the quality of the changes. Are they major? Do they affect Shao Kahn in any major way? First up is You Will Never Win, which is probably Shao Kahn's best string because, as you know, it gives him a hit confirm. It gives him a hit confirm into a special move, allowing him to do whatever he wants. I'm giving super basic, bottom-of-the-barrel examples. You can obviously get a whole lot more with Shao Kahn. But You Will Never Win now has had an adjustment to its properties on block in general. On block, the string is now -9. It used to be -12. Now, this is a frustrating change for Shao Kahn mains, I'm sure. At least it's a frustrating change from an outsider looking in, because remember, this was -12. This was full combo punishable. Shiva could get a forward 4 and use it to convert into a combo for major damage. But now it's -9. So what does that mean? It means it's still technically punishable. And some characters, in fact most characters, can actually get a crushing blow punish. For going for his best string, Shao Kahn is still eating damage that he shouldn't be eating. So with Fujin, he could even theoretically get a full combo off of this as well. I don't have any examples off the top of my head, but because Fujin has a 7-frame jab, turning this -9 almost helps Shao Kahn, but it's not quite enough. Really, it should be -7 or less in order to help Shao Kahn out. Or even -8, so that at least with most of the cast, Shao Kahn can at least block when he's giving up pressure. Now, at best, Shao Kahn does have a 7-frame down 1, but he's losing at most in the mirror match. Shao Kahn can't punish with standing 1. That's about as good as it gets. If Shao Kahn's You Will Never Win was -8, characters like RoboCop, Rambo, Kitana, and Melina will not be able to punish him, and Shao Kahn will at least be able to block. So this is a frustrating change, but the rest of the changes are actually really solid. Hammer Lunge has less pushback on block and 10 less recovery frames on both block and miss. So you miss, Shao Kahn is -21. If you block, Shao Kahn is now -7. So he is now on the border to being safe on Hammer Lunge. But here's the thing. At certain ranges, he's -6, meaning that now Shao Kahn is safe. He doesn't have his turn back, but he is safe, meaning that, of course, Shao Kahn now has a way, Shao Kahn now has a way of getting in from damn near full screen, damn near risk-free. If it's a low projectile or the opponent has whiffed their input and gotten a normal instead of a projectile. Shao Kahn is now capable of leaping in and teaching them who's boss. And being able to keep up the pressure, especially if you're willing to spend the bar. Because on Amplify, it's now +1. Shao Kahn's Hammer Launch Amplify has more pushback on block, 5 more block stun frames, and 15 less recovery frames on miss. So if this misses in any way, like say, now Shao Kahn almost completely recovers fast enough that he should be able to block it. And if you do block this, Shao Kahn's now +1 at this range. And Shao Kahn has back 2, has forward 3. Actually, no, he doesn't. He has forward 4 to go for, which forward 4, if you block this thing, he's +6 in your face now, which is terrifying to consider. And finally, we have Shao Kahn's Ground Shatter. This attack has 4 less recovery frames and more pushback on block. He's -14 now. Now, that is still full combo punishable, especially with several far-reaching normals like back 2. In the Shao Kahn mirror, if Shao Kahn blocks Ground Shatter, Shao Kahn will still be able to get the back 2 and be able to punish. But some characters will have a harder time punishing this now. But the key change is Ground Shatter Amplify. Now it's -8, a mid block with all of this pushback. Shao Kahn can't reach with his 9 frame standing 1, which is one of the farthest reaching normals, which is one of the farthest reaching jabs in the game. So, most jabs being 8 frames or less means that Shao Kahn is effectively safe if he goes for normal for Amplify Hammer Shatter. Especially with all this range. He's not getting punished for this. But there's still one issue. Double flawless blocks are still possible. And if you have a far-reaching standing 3 or wake up 3 like Fujin, then you should still be able to tag Shao Kahn with this. So overall, Shao Kahn has been buffed, but not quite enough. This is another very conservative set of patch notes, which is a little bit disconcerting. Especially when you consider that Fujin has only had one very slight change. Knee buckler's hit regions have been adjusted. I'm not sure if this means it's less of an anti-air now, but this thing has had its hit frames adjusted, and that's it. And we've finished the patch notes. So, let me know which of these changes you're most excited for, what changes you wanted to see in this patch. Personally, I'm fine with the Shiva Stomp being changed, so now maybe I'll be seeing Shivas use Stomp less, but that's also mostly because as a Shiva player, I try not to use Stomp too often. And a lot of these changes are nice, but they're small. Which leads me to believe which leads further evidence to Mortal Kombat 11 almost being done. So don't forget to be awesome, my friends, and I'll see you guys on the other side.